Offender in custody. Okay, if anyone else follows my dusty rest, let me know.
It's like with this fireman stuff, this is something that we've been discussing for a year and a half, 2 years. And it only has 1,100 people have even seen that Sigma Chi president was a first responder. This is back when it was CJ's
I'm telling you,
concepts.
CJ and his vacuum, and CJ and the first responders, it's like he's been on it.
He has been on it.
And this is something that's been out, and that was a great conversation when it came to that 911 call. You know what I mean? And it's like I've continued to say from, one of the first shorts I ever made, because I don't even really make them, but it was like the best way to exclude your DNA is to show up. Hello.
Exactly.
You always said that. You always said that.
Yep.
It's a first responder.
He's got to show up at his shift for 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. Okay. You go commit the crime, you get back home, you settle the F down, you clean yourself up, you get yourself calm, and then you go into work and you're confident because you know that you're going to be called to show up to the freaking crime scene because you committed it. And look who else was a first responder for Sigma Chi. The guy that when Brian Netton went to talk to him wanted to look down at his phone and not talk.
I remember that.
Yeah, this was something that we brought up a long time ago.
I'm sorry. I have to go to algebra class right now. Sorry, I can't talk to you.
Yeah, he's like, well, we already said everything. We already cooperated.
I was going to ask, you said that they wear many hats.
Oh, yeah. They all rank up. They multiple. I mean, think about it. When you're in a community and we're going to just talk because you have to explore other theories, thoughts, and opinions, right? So if we're going to talk about EMS and fire and police and even the university, even the fraternities and sororities. So when you're in the middle of nowhere and you don't have anybody that's, Pullman is next door. Other than that, it's a bunch of hills. It's a bunch of hills and it's a bunch of mountains. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. But you're out in the middle of nowhere. So who's going to be doing this on you? Nobody, right? Nobody's going to be looking down. Oh, what the hell are they? That's kind of shady. Ain't nobody going to be doing that. You're your own existence as far as you can see, So
right.
It's a thing where they've all perfected that up there because it's always been middle of nowhere. We're the only people. We rule how we want to rule, and it's how we want to do it. And if you don't like it, we deal with it, and it's always been that way.
Until you got involved.
You hear the stories from James, the guy that I interviewed that lived there and went to Christ Church. Okay, so it's bubbleistic. Okay, is the best way to put it. Bubbleistic. Okay, force field. So you perfect, right? So man, we need more money, more money, more money, more money, more money. It's all about money up there too. It is. It's very rich up there as well. So when you're thinking about all this money, they've perfected it to where we keep the negative attention, the negative, the negative words that get associated with the calls, that get associated with the people that are involved. And so when everybody has this bubble and the atmosphere is so thick to where people can't speak out, just like James, where people can't speak out, you're suppressing all of that information. And so what happens is just like there's a couple officers that just got awards because they saved somebody's life in Moscow just now. Okay. So when you're thinking about all of this rank up in these awards, you dig into the university, you dig into the fraternities. That's what led us to the volunteer program, because when I started exploring the connection of the university to the fraternities based off of Green's book as well, which amplified it even more, then you start to uncover the volunteer programs that they have and the badges that they have right there on this thumbnail. This Sigma Chi Pandemic Responder, Sigma Chi First Responder. They issue these pins to Sigma Chi. When you start to look into the first responder program and the volunteer program, then that shows you the hours that they were working. They were working night duty on weekdays, and on weekends they were working 24/7, not 24/7 shifts, but 24/7 volunteers. So then when you start to look further into that, then you start to see that the fraternities and the sororities themselves have to respond to that particular area. So if there is a call that comes in and you're a first responder, if it's in your area, it's your responsibility as that fraternity or sorority to go then respond to that call that is needed. So when you're thinking about the hours that the first responder volunteers had to work, which was Sunday morning and Saturday night, also Saturday morning and also Sunday night. So there were volunteers working at the time that the crime took place. There were volunteers working at the time that the call came in, and there were volunteers that were working even after through that night until 7 o'clock on Monday morning. So when you have all of these awards, all of these volunteer programs, awards, you look at the awards within law enforcement, you look at with the awards within the university, everybody is getting awards no matter what platform you're on, because they all understand how to keep in line. They all understand how to minimize and suppress the information, which means that they get more money in their pockets all the way around. It's a win-win-win for them as long as you play the game. So when it comes to that area, they can be very good at it and they can perfect it because they are that area that's in the middle of nowhere and nobody's looking down on them going, hey, that's kind of shady. Just like when you see in the body cams, what other body cams in the United States of America that we know of that you can sit there and watch law enforcement officers treat females like they treat females? Okay.
Well, CJ, do you remember from November 13th that paramedics were not allowed in the house? Moscow police kept them out. Do you remember that detail?
I had heard it, but it didn't make sense to me at all.
Yoli,
because,
did you hear that?
I did.
Yeah, that was
But
in the very beginning.
Even the emergency response workers, EMS workers, were not allowed in.
Yeah, that's what I heard from the very beginning, which doesn't make sense because they were the first ones to show up.
And the coroner didn't go in until after.
Think about it. Think about it. Who showed up first before? Let's go technical and not technical, because I'm trying to show you what I'm talking about with this right here. What people showed up before EMS?
It was Moscow police, and it was one of these officers.
No. Before police, before EMS, who showed up at 11:22? We just read the people in the 911 call.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was friends summoned to the house, right?
Right. And what fraternity were those friends from?
Sigma Chi.
Sigma Chi?
Boom. Boom. So what are you going to do? You're going to call Mr. President, the one that is pictured all the way to the other side of the screen holding that axe. It's almost Friday, because I'm ranking up in that volunteer program too. What are you going to do? Number one, remember when we went through the protocols of the fraternities? The fraternities have to also have a game plan, an action game plan for when it comes to situations like this. Who's going to have the most dictatorship and knowledge when it comes to that game plan? Mr. President. Who's also going to have the most knowledge when it comes to EMS work before EMS even shows up? Mr. President. So you don't technically, and this is why I say EMS or volunteers were the first people to show up, because they really were. They just weren't in the uniform. They're still EMS. Just because they don't have on a uniform. Because think about it. If you're a fraternity member, right? And you're Hunter, right? You're Hunter. Hey, bro, Prez, the one that's supposed to make the decisions for the fraternity, right? When it comes to this game plan action. The one that would have some of the most knowledge or be respected amongst the brothers when it comes, they're gonna have the Prez come over there anyway, because he's gonna have some of the most knowledge. He's gonna be the one to make the decisions on who does what. So why wouldn't you have this guy show up with you? You know what I'm saying?